Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our second episode of the Football Lookout podcast. Before I introduce everyone, I just wanted to thank listeners for giving us all the feedback we've received over the past weeks. Most of it's been pretty positive. Okay, I'm here with Basil.
Hello.
I'm also here with Imran.
Yo, what's going on?
He also calls himself Sheikh or Trap Lord. I think that's right. And I'm also here with Rayan
Hello.
and Saif.
Hello.
Okay, now we got
the weakest hello I've ever heard.
Okay, now we got all the hellos out the way. We're going to be talking about the hottest topic worldwide, inside and outside of sport. We're going to give you an update on the corona situation and how it's affected football. We've heard that the English Premier League has extended the break, calling it a break, until April 30th.
So basically all games in the Premier League, the English Football League, the Women's Super League, and the Women's Championship, and all the fixtures in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, they're postponed until the 30th. And the Football Association has also agreed that the current season can be, and I quote, extended indefinitely. So they released a joint statement, that's the FA, the Premier League, and the Football League, that they have a commitment of finding a way to resume the 2019-2020 season. And also, I found this a bit interesting. They want to complete all domestic and European matches as soon as it's safe and possible to do so, because I think they should scrap the European matches, focus on the league, but I guess they want it to continue.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Because now you're talking to different bodies, one being UEFA and the other being the FA.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the April 30th date just seems like a formality at this point. It's probably going to undoubtedly be extended even more once we get closer to that date.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true. But Imran, since you are actually, someone that lives in England right now, could you kind of give us a breakdown on what the coronavirus is like at the moment in England? If you think that April 30th date is feasible or not?
Sure. So London is kind of the epicenter in the UK for the coronavirus. We've got the most cases, and I think, don't quote me on it, but I think we have the most deaths as well. We had the biggest spike in deaths today, which was 260 deaths in the last 22 hours. So rest in peace to all those souls that lost their lives. The way that it's escalating, the way that the whole country is in a lockdown, I think they might put stricter measures in, because there's been video surfacing of people still congregating. Like there was one video of people having like picnics at a park, and there was another one where a person was having a barbecue with their neighbors, etc. So the number of cases and the number of deaths per day are increasing. So I think undoubtedly that April 30th deadline that they've set is going to be moved. And I think this is just my opinion. I think minimum August, man. I'll be honest with you. I think August is probably the earliest time when the season can resume.
Okay.
Stay home, people.
Just to add to
Please
that,
stay home.
Just to add to that, I think what we're all looking for here is we're all looking for the peak of the curve. So even though numbers keep getting higher, we're just waiting for us to reach that peak, and then we see an eventual dip. That's the good sign we're looking for.
But here's the thing, though. If they did resume playing behind closed doors, as soon as one player or even a coach gets a positive test, it has to be shut down again.
And I was someone else I was talking to made a very important comment, and it was I didn't even think of it. All football matches has to be there has to be an emergency services member there. So there has to be an ambulance with the paramedics there. So in a time like this, where the NHS is already stretched like beyond belief, there's no way they can spare ambulances or paramedics for football games. So I don't think that even the whole closed doors, playing behind closed doors, I don't think that will go ahead until, like Ibi says, that we're on the kind of decline of the curve.
Bro, to add to that, right, at the end of the day, money talks. And the Premier League's making a hell of a lot of money from these matches, and you have to think about the TV revenue that's coming into them,
If I could just sorry to interrupt you, but because you mentioned the TV money, the broadcast rights holders, Sky and BT, if the season doesn't go ahead, so if the season isn't resolved, they're entitled to claim a total of £750 million in refunds. And 750 million, that's $750 million. That's mad amounts of money. And that's why the Premier League, they're determined to do everything possible to honor those commercial contracts.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, the situation is kind of a mess right now. You know, we don't exactly know which direction this thing's headed in. And like you said, there's been a spike of deaths. At the moment, it's kind of like you got to take it almost day by day.
Yep.
Yeah, but regardless of hypotheticals, it seems like there has been some movement already officially in terms of non-league clubs.
The FA ended the 2019-2020 season for hundreds of non-league clubs because of the coronavirus pandemic. And they're saying that all results will be expunged. Imran, I believe you did some research on this.
So like you said, so the FA has ended that season for the clubs in the north and the south, because there's a northern league and a southern league. They've cancelled that league. They've got rid of all the results, and they're pissed, bro. They are pissed. So the FA are actually facing legal action because their results have been expunged. And the same applies to the women's football, you know, the non-league football. So they're threatening to take legal action as well. And because they're saying that the decision is particularly harsh, there's this one team, it's called South Shields. They were 12 points clear at the top of the Northern Premier Division. And the chairman, I think his name is Jeff Thompson, he said in a Twitter post that the SSFC, so that's, I'm assuming, South Shields Football Club, will be writing to the FA in the strongest possible terms and will seek an appeal or will take legal action. So that's the chairman of one of the non-league clubs. So they're pissed, bro. Like they're not happy with this. They're really not happy.
There was one team that had 27 straight wins, from what I read, and their whole season's basically just like it's wiped off, basically.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. You win 27 straight, and then none of it counts.
That could be Liverpool, you know, if the season.
I think the team's name was South Liverpool.
I can hear it in Stace's voice. He really wants to. He's thinking about Liverpool while we're talking about these non-league clubs.
I really am. It's in the back of my mind.
Safe, what do you think? Because I think it was David Ornstein that came out this week that said a number of Premier League clubs wanted the season to be null and voided. What did you think of that?
I think Ornstein needs to calm down. You know, inside voices, please.
I
don't need to hear this.
He's just a messenger.
I don't need to hear this.
Okay.
Honestly, we'd be a meme if it happened.
Yeah, it seems to be as time is progressing that the overall feel and the points of view of many clubs might be changing. I know earlier we read that there seemed to be a unified front, a unanimous point of view that the season should continue. But now as time is moving on and it seems that the situation is worsening at the moment rather than getting better, that there might be some clubs that are willing to end things as soon as possible.
West Ham. Karen Brady is just like lock off the whole season.
But like we said last week, you know, maybe alphabetical is the way to go. So we're also hearing that the EFL are giving £50 million to help lower league clubs. What are your thoughts on that, Imran?
So the £50 million is a short-term relief fund to help clubs with cash flow issues. You know, emphasis on the phrase short term, because I think that what the streets are saying that they might be giving out more money. Now, the fund includes the early release of award payments and an interest-free loan facility as well. Now, I understand that loan doesn't have to be paid back, but what it does mean is that in future seasons, the clubs won't be getting as much as they usually will. So they're trying to balance the books like that. The EFL trophy, so the English Football League trophy, and you're going to love, this is the deadest name for a competition. It's called the leasing.com trophy. It's
amazing.
Oh my God.
That's
the leasing.com
almost as good as Uber Eats.
Bro, say if you read my mind.
So that trophy, the final has been postponed. So championships clubs, they're going to receive about £800,000 award payments, and they'll be able to apply for about £500,000 in interest-free loan. And for the League One clubs, the award is £250,000, and they can apply for a loan of about £183,000. And for League Two clubs, that's the award is £164,000. And they can apply for a loan for £120,000.
Jeez.
See, man came with his homework.
The numbers, man. He crunched the numbers.
Well done, Imran. Well done. I'm proud of you, son.
But you know, these decisions from the EFL is actually kind of massive, because the coronavirus and stopping games is kind of ginormous for these guys who make so much revenue off of match days.
Exactly, yeah.
And according everything throughout the
Bro,
week.
you're right. That's how they survive. That's why the EFL was the first organization in this country to release those funds, because those lower clubs, especially like League One, League Two, they depend on like ticket money and other match day revenue as well.
Just going back to basically the end of this season and the start of next season, I did read today about this idea that the end of this season could be played as late as July and go on for 4 to 6 weeks after that. And the idea is that they would basically use those last few fixtures of the league season almost to act as a preseason for the following season.
I think my initial thought would have been to end the season, maybe give the players a break and start the following season a little later. I see the idea, but I don't know like what the players are doing day to day right now. But I think they might be thinking about revenue again. What's the quickest way we can start the next season? And they're using that as an excuse in a way. I see the point behind it, and it is a little logical, but my first thought would have been to give the players a little break after the season has ended and then start the next season maybe.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think the idea is that the current time period, because there's no training going on, it seems to be that this is almost the break that the players would have gotten.
I disagree. The reason not disagree with what you guys are saying, but I don't like that proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is because a preseason friendlies is when you use all of your squad. You give the young players a chance, the academy graduates. It's almost like a friendly. Like there's no hard tackles. There's not that much competitiveness. It's just to get people match fit. But using these last few Premier League games, like Rayan, you'll probably agree with me, like Man United and Arsenal, we're on form right now. We're probably going to try and take our games all the way to the end. You know, Arsenal have got the FA Cup as well. I think United have got the FA Cup and the Europa League as well, if that still goes ahead. So those guys are going to be like fully focused in extremely competitive games. So it won't be a pre-season. So they're going to need a break at the end of it anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Imran on this, because obviously a preseason isn't somewhere where you need to like put in high intensity matches and possibly risk major injuries like you would at the end of this season if we actually do end it. And it might, again, screw a lot of big injuries for, let's say, again, Arsenal or United.
Also, I just thought of it now, like in terms of competitiveness, if they are saying that, you know, it should be treated as pre-season friendlies, then there could be clubs like mid-table clubs who are not taking games seriously. So when they do come up against an Arsenal or a Man United could have like a really competitive game against, let's say, Leicester, but then Arsenal are chilling because Watford aren't taking this seriously. They're playing a bunch of 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem fair, if that makes sense.
I guess while we're on the topic, I guess we can maybe jump down to what if for the next couple of seasons we began the season on the calendar years as opposed to beginning in August?
Oh boy.
Interesting.
Then that would mean that the World Cup and the Euros would also get moved, right?
Well, the idea is that the World Cup, since it's already being played in the winter, it would be in the off season. The off season would be in the winter transfer window in December rather than June and July as it currently is.
Basil, are you saying that it forever continues like that? That it starts in about February, March and ends about November, December? So it's just forever going to change like that? Or?
Yeah, it's tough. Like the transition between if we did do this to then allowing it to change back to how it currently is would be very difficult, and I'm not sure what the logistics would be on that. But I guess everything is just being looked into short term. How could we best accommodate things for the next year or two? And so I'm not sure if it would permanently stay that way. However, there are some leagues, a lot of the South American leagues, the Mexican League, the MLS, they all begin usually around February to start their seasons, and they usually end around November. And
man, fuck America, man. You look at Trump. I don't want to follow you guys.
Man's talking like he doesn't have Boris Johnson.
Right.
Who is now infected.
Listen, coronavirus is taking him out right now.
Him and Prince Charles.
The whole government.
Did anyone, on quick thought, or just one quick side note, did anyone see that video of Prince Charles forgetting to shake people's hands? That's how he got it.
He forgot he wasn't supposed to shake people's hands?
Yeah, and people had to keep reminding him, like, he kept putting his hand out, and he's like, oh, sorry. And then he did the, like...
Bro, this guy's like the UK's Joe Biden, man. He's just so, like, forgetting everything.
My God.
Wait, yo, he's better than Boris Johnson, man. This man went out of his way to shake people's hands in the hospital.
Basil, to go back to your point, it would feel weird for me. I would prefer it if there's something that could happen where we can go back to how it was, where the league starts in August and ends in May/June. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously we have the international tournaments in the summer and then the summer transfer window. And I don't know. It's just my whole
I've
life's
always
been
liked
like
it
that,
that
you
way.
know. It's just
Yeah,
I've always
it-
liked it that
yeah.
way.
it's
Um,
definitely strange.
Yeah, and I don't like it. I don't like international tournaments in the middle of a season. That seems wrong.
Yeah, I guess the idea is, use Euro 2021 in the winter if you were to implement this idea, and it would serve, I guess, as a rehearsal for the World Cup being in the winter the
Yeah.
following year.
Oh, we've got the African Cup of Nations though in mid-season next season, right?
Yeah, it's weird. They keep flipping it back
Oh,
and
yeah.
forth between making it. I know they had always done like a January tournament for as long as I can remember, and then they recently did a summer tournament, and now it seems like they're going back to a January tournament.
maybe it's
Yeah.
because of the other tournaments around, like the Euros.
Copa America as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit, yeah, the Copa America.
Copa
probably why,
Americas, man. I can't take those things seriously anymore. There's one like
been
every
way
year,
too
man.
many of them. Safe
Yep.
just disconnected. He's back. We'll
Is
just
he
Oh,
back?
that was safe. That was a quick
That was
one.
a quick win.
We'll just-
Yeah,
Hold
my
on.
bad. Quick
Yeah.
way. You know, you only find the right video, right?
Oh, well, which page were you on?
All the way 150, baby. Page 150.
Jeez, already.
Jeez.
Definitely editing this out.
No. We gotta keep it. We gotta keep it.
Yeah, my bad. My thing just like acted up.
So, what are your thoughts on La Liga being suspended indefinitely?
At the moment, I think La Liga is one of the few leagues, well, outside of England, anyways, that don't really know if they'll continue or when they would continue if it happens. So I'm not 100% sure what you guys want me to say for that, or what the news might be coming out from La Liga anytime soon. Basil, I know you follow.
We want you to
La
know
Liga and
everything,
Barcelona.
Royan. We want you to know everything.
You know what? I'm gonna talk with Barca's president.
know anything.
Hey man, if La Liga doesn't know anything, how am I supposed to know anything?
It
That's
does make
true.
sense though, because Spain has overtaken China recently in terms of the corona deaths. So Italy,
Yep.
Spain have had it the worst so far in terms of deaths. So the
Yeah.
fact that La Liga has just been suspended indefinitely without much more being said about it compared to the Premier League does make sense at this time.
And
But-
while we're on the topic of Barcelona, I don't know if you guys for surely have heard that Camp Nou and Barcelona recently have kind of signed off the rights to their stadium to use during this whole corona outbreak. And
Swear.
along with them, the Etihad has been given out for the NHS by Man City. So that stadium
Really?
might finally be filled.
Finally.
The empty head is now
empty
at full
head.
capacity.
No, that's
For
good
the
stuff,
first
man.
time. For the first time.
For
But
the first time.
not in positive circumstances, unfortunately.
But no, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. It's I like that. I like them helping out. Doing
Yeah,
their
I
part.
agree.
It seems
I
like
hope that other teams take this lead as well, to be honest, because it's going to be kind of necessary.
Yeah, that'll
Honestly,
be good.
A lot of the bigger clubs are going to have to follow suit. And it looks like Manchester is taking the lead on this in
That's
England.
good.
I'm also hearing about a lot of news of there's news spreading of player generosity throughout Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in the Premier League, there's a new initiative. It's called #FootballUnited. So it was made by players, actually. Hector Bellerin, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Reece James, Andres Townsend, and I think Callum Wilson as well. They kind of started this initiative where they just wanted to raise £100,000 minimum to help local communities through the pandemic.
Does anyone know how much they've actually raised? Let me check.
I think it's gone past 100K now. I think it has.
I know
'cause,
today Rashford has raised about 100K to pay for like 400,000 like meals for vulnerable children around the UK that usually relied on free school meals.
that's
Oh, wow.
wicked. That's wicked.
Okay, I want to
Yeah.
say something. So
No,
I like what
you're
they're
not
doing,
allowed.
right? But to them, 100,000 is chump change. Let's be honest.
No, it's a minimum thing, isn't it? It's just minimum.
No, I know it's a
minimum.
minimum thing, but like with the salary that some of these players are making per week,
Yeah.
they
But
should
the
try and
100K
raise
is
a
what they're
million.
donating, though. 100K is what they're like urging the community to raise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
I feel like it should be raised to 500 grand at least.
it does make
That's
sense because, like Lewandowski himself donated 1 million euros.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of big players have donated, I think, about $1 million or $2 million.
How much is
Pep-
Lingard on? Does anyone know how much money Lingard is making
Way
per
too
week?
much.
Too much. Too much.
Lingo,
that's where I'm
he's
coming
he's not
from.
getting paid enough, bro.
No, don't call him Lingo. He doesn't deserve that.
So this is where I'm coming from. 100 grand is not that much money to these players. That's how much Mustafi makes. What, 100 over 100 per week?
Yeah, but it's
Again,
like
though,
a minimum thing, isn't it? It's
That's
just like-
that's also not the money they're putting in.
I
they're
know,
raising
yeah.
that money from the community.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that like the footballers should come together and give a
Yeah,
little.
the thing is that hashtag has been so the players that I mentioned, they're using that hashtag and saying that they've donated, so it inspires other footballers to do the same. And just to add that the donations they don't go to the NHS or to the government, they go to this the National Emergencies Trust. They work along with the government. They're separate, but they work along with the government and they help local communities. But this scheme here, in particular, the hashtag Football United, that scheme is specifically to support elderly and vulnerable people who have been affected by coronavirus.
Okay, I see.
But I hear what you're saying about the 100K. I mean, yeah, they could have raised it higher, but I think it's just a minimum amount. I think they've already gone past it.
Yeah, and I would expect them to. That was just my opinion on like they make outrageous amounts of money, but I do like the step in the direction in which this is going. I don't want to like knock them too much, but like you said, it's a minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any thoughts on the player generosities that we've been talking about?
They should give me some of their money.
No, I think we've
Yeah,
seen a
'cause-
lot of examples. We've seen Gary Neville allowing
Yeah.
his hotels to be used by the
Oh, that's
NHS.
true.
That's wicked. That was
That's
wicked.
amazing.
That is awesome, man.
Amazing.
What a guy, Gary.
Toby Alderweireld, he donated tablets to a local hospital, I believe, to help with
Oh.
that.
That's
Oh,
good.
nice,
That's
nice.
good.
Of course, the former Spurs fans claps.
Pep
go ahead.
Guardiola. Pep
Oh,
Guardiola
yeah.
gave $1 million to
Guardiola and Messi, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they
to-
both donated $1 million each. I think.
A
to help
million.
pay for
That's dope.
ventilators and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think same with the Ronaldo and his agent Mendes. Both
Jorge
dropped about $1
Mendes.
million.
Yeah, what was that fake news story about Ronaldo and his hotels? It went all
I
over
don't even
Twitter.
know. I don't even know.
I think people were trying to say that he let people use his hotels as a hospital, but that wasn't true.
Yeah, someone started a rumor. I forgot where, but it just spread like wildfire from there.
Never underestimate the power of stands.
That's true. Also, you had like journalists believing it too.
Yeah, I think they finally confirmed that it wasn't true when they actually when some of the reporters called and asked one of the hotels about it. Because they wanted to write like a news story on it. They were like, oh yeah, that's actually not true, guys, so let's stop calling us.
Awkward. Rayon, you're his biggest fanboy. Guaranteed you started that rumor.
Oh,
Guaranteed you started that rumor.
Rayon
Show me
started
this
it on
guy, man.
Twitter.
That wasn't me.
He's a stan.
Wasn't me.
Guaranteed you started that rumor. You
Ryan's
probably have
also,
like
Ryan's
go on,
also a Milan fan. His boy Ibra is also taking on the virus.
Yes.
What a
yes.
guy.
Yeah, what's he doing?
What a
What's he
guy.
doing?
He's
What's
literally
he doing?
taking it on.
Exactly.
He's taking on coronavirus.
In true Ibra fashion.
This guy, man, he's such a larger than life character, man.
He really
No,
is.
he really is though.
I mean, I don't know how he's going to take on the coronavirus. My man can't even win the Champions League. Like, what is this?
Oh my god.
Oh, damn.
Oh my god. That was a low blow, Imran.
He's gonna knock him
I
slow.
remember.
man.
Listen to this. I remember back. Shoot, I was in high school. This was maybe 10, 11 years ago. I remember Ibra had gone to Barcelona, and then he did. They did the swap deal for Eto'o, and in
Yeah.
that season, he transferred from Inter Milan, and then Inter Milan won the Champions League.
Yeah.
And then the following season, he goes on loan to Milan, and Barcelona win the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's
Bro, I
hilarious.
feel so bad.
I feel
This
bad,
man
man.
deserves a Champions
This
League.
man has had won league titles every year for like I don't know how many years in a row, starting from back in Sweden all to Ajax.
He's got, I'm guaranteed he's got like 15 league titles or something like that. Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, because
he
he
had
had
a
a
massive
record
streak.
that wherever he goes, he won the league title. That's why United fans are so happy, because wherever he went, he always won the league title.
Except at United.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no need for this.
They have bigger problems, so.
That's true. He did very well though the season he was with us.
So touching back on the Zlatan thing, so he actually pledged 100,000 euros to Italy's hospitals,
Good
and
guy.
he launched a 1 million euro fundraiser to kick the coronavirus away. So there's a
That's
lot going
good.
on here, and I'm also reading that I think it was the German national team. They launched their own fundraising initiative.
Oh yeah, I did
And
see
they
that.
donated 2.5 million euros to social causes.
Oh, awesome.
That's wicked.
Manuel Neuer, former best goalkeeper in the world, he said we have to look at each other in such times. So I like the whole collective spirit
dope.
that's spreading
a
that's
lot
the
good,
of
man.
a lot of Bundesliga clubs are they're donating 20 million euros. You got like the
Each?
likes of like Bayern, Dortmund, Leipzig, and Leverkusen.
What, 20 million each?
No, total of 20 million
Oh,
euros.
I was gonna say that's wicked if they're doing
Yeah,
20 million
that'd be
each.
mad.
Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
No, but collectively 20 million is good. That's good.
That's
Yeah.
great. So we have that
And do you know
going
what?
on.
well,
We have that.
that's technically to support Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2 clubs, not necessally
Oh, okay, fair enough.
coronavirus patients.
I take my
Oh.
gratitude back.
Take it back, man.
Take it back. But actually, no, I just want to loads of people in society before the whole coronavirus thing happened. People always attacking footballers. Oh, they earn too much money. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
All this other stuff that's not their fault. It's not their fault that there's so much interest and popularity with football that
right.
they're getting so much money. So I'm glad that they're showing that they're as equally generous. That they're willing to give that money that they're earning away to help other people.
Yeah, that's a
So
good thing.
that's good. That's good shit, man. That's good stuff. There was a story out of Germany, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Their players.
Good pronunciation right there.
I know, right?
I
I'm
respect
so
that,
glad.
man.
I'm so
Bro,
glad.
you
I've got
butcher it like
appreciation for
Robbie.
that. Their players are going to waive part of their salary just to help the club.
Mhm.
The sporting director Max Eberl, I think, said that he was. I think he's panicking because he goes, and I quote: "For the next few weeks and months, we have to realize that only a continuation of the Bundesliga games without spectators will allow many clubs to survive economically." And he continues, "The players know what's going on. It's their job. They have already informed themselves and thought about it. The team has offered to forego salary if it can help the club and its employees. The coaching staff joined in just like our directors and managing directors." End quote. So yeah, I think they're panicking a little bit over in the Bundesliga because what they're saying is that without any more matches, the German Football League clubs could lose around about 750 million euros in revenue from broadcasting, ticketing, and sponsoring. On the Borussia Dortmund CEO, let me see if I can get this pronunciation right, Hans Joachim Watzke. He quoted saying that the Bundesliga must finish the season as otherwise things would become financially dramatic, that things would change in football we currently do not want to even think of. I think he was concerned. I think there was further quotes were saying that he was concerned that the Bundesliga clubs will go bankrupt. The Bundesliga 2 clubs, some of them might just cease to exist and stuff like that. So I think they really do want to continue the season and keep it going because I think they're scared that the loss of money is going to destroy loads of clubs.
Yeah, he definitely sounded very sort of desperate about it. He's been talking a lot actually since the what's it called? Since we've been in isolation and stuff. Well, basically what you said, and then I think he followed up on it the other day. Okay, no, on March 19th he followed up on it.
Mhm.
So basically reiterating what he said. And he said there should be ghost games played to finish the season. Yeah, without fans, but at least something like some sort of revenue would be coming in from these ghost games. He basically, like you said, he sounded very desperate to keep the league going.
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, we've seen this pattern of players foregoing their salaries or a portion of their salaries from several clubs across Europe.
Do you guys want to hear a funny story? Not a funny story, but there was the Scottish League, the
I think you're gonna
Hearts.
tell it anyway.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, man! I swear, man.
This waste man, Libby, man.
Just let me speak, for God's sakes. So the Hearts chairman, Anne Budge, she basically has threatened the players, saying that if you don't take a cut in your salary, I'm going to send a letter to you guys, and I'm just going to basically inform you that your salaries are forcefully going to be cut to make sure that the club can survive. So Anne Budge is not budging on that.
Oh.
Ooh, what a pun.
Yeah.
But no, it's see, I read today about the whole Barcelona situation because the Barcelona board had approached the squad captains. I think there's 4 of them, and I think there's no official numbers, but some rumors are saying that they asked them to forego up to 70% of their salary.
Oh,
And
that's mad.
and that's why several of them had initially denied the amount. So they said that they were willing to forego a portion of their salary, but not to the extent that the board was requesting. But at the same time, it seems like there was some kind of portion of their salary that was taken, but it wasn't through an agreement between the board and the players. Rather, it was the board and the club invoking a labor law in the Spanish government that in times
Oh,
of
mad.
crisis and disaster, a portion
Oh,
of salaries are
yo.
allowed to be foregone or waived at the time. So there's no idea of how much that proportion is. But the idea is that's basically how it's been done. Now,
Damn.
there isn't any news to say that a deal still cannot be struck between the players and the board, but at the moment it seems like the current situation is that it's through this legislation as opposed to a deal between the captains, the squad, and the board.
No, I was going to say that the players already had a problem with the board. You know, they had that Messi versus Abidal thing going on.
Right.
yeah,
I don't know if this is the
Barcelona
continuation of it.
Yeah. Barcelona's board is very suspicious.
Very sketchy.
I
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't
feel
like
sorry for. I really feel sorry for Messi because they've had those issues have translated to the pitch, and he's slowly he's past his prime now, but he's still a very good player. But how much time does he have at the top where he can perform to the high standards he set for himself?
That's with all players, though, isn't it? There's always the eventual decline.
Yeah, but what I mean is, for me, he's one of my favorite players to watch. And just how he
100%,
galvanizes the team.
100%.
It's just he galvanizes the team in a special way.
So what you're
Agreed.
saying, maybe he's been wasting his time a little bit the last couple of years.
In a way, yeah, because if you think about after they lost Neymar, it was all about, oh, how do we replace Neymar? And then the Barca basically caved into the pressure and they got Dembele for, it was a crazy amount of money. I think it was maybe
142 million, if I remember
okay.
correctly.
It was a ton.
right, and then that didn't work out. Now his values dropped. He can't stay fit. Then they went for, who did they get? They got Malcolm. They didn't give him much of a chance.
You got Dembele and Coutinho.
Yeah,
Within
and then Coutinho
4 or
shipped
5
out.
months.
Yeah, and Coutinho got shipped out after, how much time did they give him?
Season and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And I think he was also being played out of position as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess to play devil's advocate, the fact that Neymar's departure was through a release clause late in the transfer window really got in the way of, I guess, their plans of replacing him properly.
This segues perfectly into our next topic about
Okay.
their audacious attempt of getting Neymar back.
But I am glad you brought up the why Barcelona are dickhead segment. Basil, I know you as well have read up on this Article 17 topic.
Yeah, and honestly, we could talk about Article 17 for a long time, but to summarize it, the idea is that there's this gentleman's agreement between all major clubs to not invoke Article 17. So Article 17 is basically a legislation that was created in order to allow freedom of movement for players. And the idea is after a 3-year so-called protection period, a player is technically allowed to leave his contract and move to another club. Not for free. Obviously, there is some kind of adjudication to how much the other club he is leaving will be compensated. But the idea is that there's some rumors that Barcelona might invoke this article to audaciously get Neymar from PSG, regardless of what PSG might want, because there seems to be a desire from both sides between Neymar and Barcelona to return to La Liga.
The weird
what
thing
kind
about
of
this
bullshit?
is,
What?
yeah, this has happened a couple different times before, throughout the last decade. Well, it's famously known as the Webster Deal, or whatever you might want to call it.
Hold on, hold the phone. You're telling me that, is this across Europe, by the way?
Yes.
Or just
Yeah.
Spain?
Mhm.
So you're telling me 3 years, so a player has to spend 3 years at a club,
Mm-hmm.
and then he can almost be forced to, that parent club they have no power. That guy can just go.
Essentially,
Yeah,
yes.
it's basically you can quit your job at that point because you're not technically, I guess, obligated to finish it after those first 3 years. But you do, again, there has to be some sort of compensation fee that isn't fixed that you have to pay.
Yeah, so the idea is if Neymar was to leave PSG and go to Barcelona via this article, what would happen is one of the bodies, either FIFA or the CAS, the Court of Arbitration for Sport, would then
Yeah.
look at the deal, and they would look at Neymar's salary as well as what it might cost to replace Neymar in this market. And then once they get a fee, they would order Barcelona to then pay that amount to PSG, regardless of what PSG might say. And the idea is they in that moment, Barcelona are required to pay it. And if they cannot pay it, then they might incur a severe penalty. and then if the deal is
Wow.
not then completed as a
Oh.
result.
So it's
So
just
there's-
Yeah, they could get
literally-
screwed over if this doesn't work out.
Yeah,
So
it is
this is
Gamble
just
then.
it is
this is
somewhat
just like
risky.
go for broke. This is the
Right.
Hail Mary, isn't it?
Because if FIFA or the CAS quote them a figure that was much larger than they were expecting and they cannot afford then to pursue that deal, and they will incur a penalty for invoking the Article 17 incorrectly. And the idea is
Wow.
this is especially precarious because Barcelona, for example, took out a loan recently to fulfill the signing of Antoine Griezmann. And there's
Wow.
rumors saying that Barcelona have to make at least 60 million euros or pounds worth of sales before the next season in order to balance the books. And so if they do fulfill the signing of Neymar and get quoted a very large figure that they cannot afford, they're in already deep financial trouble, and let alone the decreased money that they're going to get from the coronavirus situation.
I don't like the way they're moving. I don't like that at all.
They're a very
I think
sketchy club.
they've been using the fact that they are one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah, it's such a strange transformation over the last 10 years or so. Barcelona used to be that, as they say, més que un club, the more than a club. They had like the
Why are you
UNICEF.
laughing? Why are you
Yeah.
laughing?
They had, the UNICEF sponsorship where they donated every year to UNICEF, and they had like La Masia, which was like the big ideal way to develop players, right? And so everyone admired Barcelona for both the way they played, the way they developed players, and everything. And now after like this situation, the Neymar deal, even before he came to Barcelona, the Braithwaite deal that just happened with Leganés.
Disgusting.
They're
Was really
That
nice.
was bullshit.
disgusting.
No, I swear. When I heard that story, I was actually pissed off. From then, I just
Imagine you're one of the biggest clubs in the world and you have a chance to buy one player and you screw over a team that's fighting relegation.
Mhm.
and they couldn't do anything about it as well. They couldn't sign anyone to replace that
They
guy.
didn't even let them. That's not fair.
It left such a bad taste in my mouth. I was just like, I hope you get relegated to hell. I want you to go all the way down to hell.
Honestly. Amen.
Well, you never know what happens when Messi retires. Things could go downhill.
No, but it's
You
no.
know, the
I'm
club
sorry.
doesn't run well. So once Messi's gone, that club's going to shit.
Exactly. You know what? Real Madrid have done really well in life after Ronaldo. They've spent money, yes, but they've bought really good young players.
They're
That
setting
Mendy
themselves
guy
up
at
for the
left back.
future.
That Mendy guy at left back. Obviously, they got Asensio and whatnot. They got Vinicius, etc. But Barcelona have not been doing that. They have been so mismanaged.
I also wonder if it has anything to do with Messi and his age, because he can't afford to give certain players 2 to 3 years, before they, let's say, I don't know, maybe he really wants to win the Champions League. You don't know what kind of sway he has on board. Whereas a smart move would be to do kind of what Real Madrid did and slowly, buy young players, integrate them with the established players, and the established player can slowly leave. I wonder if that had some kind of impact on how they thought about recruitment.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very difficult because it seems like a lot of Barcelona's attempts to buy established players usually don't really go very well. If you look at the Pep Guardiola era, for example, which is probably their most successful era, their big difference from before he took reign to during the period was his bringing in of young players from La Masia, bringing back Piqué from Manchester United. Messi was still very young, so incorporating those players and bringing in young players through was sort of how they found success. Signing younger players as well, but signings like Ibrahimovic and others hasn't really worked out for them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of it has come down to when they had like a transition in their board, because it's just been going to shit since.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's a little, I don't know if you would call it depressing, or some people might find it entertaining, but just sort of
Very
seeing-
entertaining. Very entertaining.
Incredibly.
Seeing the change over the last 10 years or so has been a little sad to see.
Amazing.
I mean, you love to see it, to be honest.
Okay.
Now, you love to see it. You love to see
That
it.
is true.
So
Okay.
being mindful of the time, let's maybe transition to our
That's what I'm
amazing
trying to
segment
do.
called
Yeah.
the starting Corona 11.
Let's do it.
yeah.
Oh,
don't do that
man.
yet.
The starting Corona 11. I'm here for it.
Okay,
So
Rayan, do you want
what
to take
is
it
the
away?
starting Corona 11?
So, the starting Corona 11, you could say, is the best world 11 that we can find of players that have coronavirus at the moment. And it might be fucked completely. This might be a terrible segment. But I'm interested to seeing what kind of team we can make with the players that we have at our disposal.
Yeah.
So does everyone have a list of the players?
Where is
I
the
have an idea.
I've got an idea who I
I've
want.
got an
in
idea
there.
as well, yeah, to be fair.
Now,
Ram,
start
why-
off the bat.
Why don't you go?
I think we're all gonna agree that we want Dybala in this team.
Oh yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
100%, yeah.
We want Dybala in there, but personally, I do not want him as the sole striker. I want him either as the second
Centre
striker
forward.
or a cam.
I think he should be in a front three with Catrone and maybe Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Because
No,
it's
it's
a
a
Dybala play on the right. Sometimes it looks like he dribbles to the right and then cuts inside.
Yeah,
you
he's
can
been
have
playing
Dybala on the right.
before.
I see
You
can
Dybala
say-
as like a free role in a way. He can play
Yeah.
on either
Yeah,
side.
that's his best thing, which is why he should come to Liverpool.
Oh my
Shut up,
god.
man.
Shameless
This
plug.
guy, man. Shameless.
Listen, Paolo, I know you're home right now. You got nothing to do. If you're listening to this, just call up Klopp. Call up Jurgen. Just come through, man.
Bro, he's not going to come.
No, just no.
Stop this. You have the best the defensive forward in the world, man. You don't need him.
He can play off of him. It's okay.
Not
Yeah,
that
okay, that's mad.
not that this is a whole transition that we need to do, but I did read, and of course it's transfer rumors, so this could completely be false. But if Juventus do go in for Pogba, they're potentially offering Dybala plus money for Pogba.
No,
Oh, I'm
man.
good.
Really?
I'm good.
I heard Ramsey plus money for Pogba.
Oh, I'm
No,
super
man.
Good. I'm super good, man.
No,
Bro, just got
geez.
triggered.
I'm really
My
good.
blood
They can keep
boil. My
Just
blood would
fuck
boil.
off. Don't
You know
give
what I would
Ramsey
do?
to no one.
You would catch me in Italy looking for that bold prick.
Nah, it'd be Van Persie all over again.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh
really.
my god.
No,
Yo,
but
imagine-
we
imagine
can't
you
let
had
Ramsey play
something-
football anymore, man. This man scored and then killed all of Syria.
Wasn't he doing well too before it all hit? He scored.
Nah,
I think he was starting to do
Not really.
things
The
up again.
season itself wasn't the best. He was in and out of injury and wasn't really making starting 11.
He had a
Back-
couple of good ahead. He had a couple of good games.
Yeah, he
Back-
did have some great games though.
But
back to
Rayon,
the
more
11.
recently, he's been better.
Yeah. Before the whole,
Yeah.
Syria ending, he was doing very well from what I could tell.
Okay, so we've got a front three potentially of Dybala and Catrone and Hudson.
And I
Odoi.
guess the midfield we can also kind of, I would say, agree on with the two being Matuidi and Fellaini.
Yes.
I want Fellaini.
Why are
in
you
the
clapping?
midfield.
That needs to be our midfield too, right there.
I want him in that midfield. So
All right, so that's 5 out of the 11.
I can't find a CDM though. Like, who else would we put in midfield?
Matuidi can play at CDM.
That's true, but who else? Like, do we only have a two-man midfield, or would we do?
no, we need one more in there for sure.
What position does
Mhm.
Gabbiadini play?
He's
a
more of a
striker.
forward. Yeah, he's a
He's a
forward.
striker.
Huh.
So we can drop Dybala as a number 10 and
Oh,
have
true.
like
Yeah, actually, I do
Fellaini.
like that idea.
Okay, so we can have like a front four in a way.
So we would need one more like player on the wing than if we just
we
have
could
Hudson
we could
Odoi.
do like a 4-2-4 in it. So Catrone and Gabbiadini up top, Hudson-Odoi on the left, Dybala on the right,
Oh, okay, that's not bad. That's not
Alright,
bad.
and then we can
and then
have the
holding
two-
we have Matuidi and Fellaini.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
we could do Garay and Mangala as the two center backs.
Oh, Mangala.
Beautiful.
EPL
That's a beautiful duo.
Manchester City legend.
Or
Yo,
we
this
could
is the
do,
first time
we
I've
could do
heard his name
Rugani as
mentioned.
well.
Rugani.
No, get Rugani off this team, bro. I'm sorry.
Now put
I'm sorry,
do we have
no.
a right back? Do we have a right back?
I can't think of one.
Put Rugani at right back.
All right, Rugani at right back, and then Jose Gaya left back.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
All right,
Easily.
we just need a keeper now.
All right,
Oh,
hear me out. Let's throw Fellaini in there.
Stop
What?
this.
We can get someone else in midfield. We throw Fellaini in goal. He covers half the pitch with his. Well, actually, his fro is gone now,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's
Shaped
gross,
it.
man. What about the
Unfortunately.
Atalanta goalkeeper, Sportiello?
Oh, Sportiello is very good. Yeah, he would be an amazing
He's got
keeper.
coronavirus.
All right, there you go. So
Okay.
our Corona 11 is Atalanta goalkeeper, along with Rugani,
Who
Garay,
plays out of position right now?
Mangala, and Jose Gaya at the back, with Fellaini and Matuidi as the pivots in the middle, and then a front four of Gabbiadini, Cutrone, Hudson-Odoi, and Dybala.
Manager Arteta.
That's a pretty
Oh,
solid.
man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Wait, do we
Yeah,
want
coronavirus.
Arteta or Galatasaray's manager?
No, Arteta.
Oh,
Arteta's the real good
Fahid
player.
Tarim he is No, he's a legend.
He is a legend. But no, we'll go for Arteta. And
That's a title-winning team.
That
That
is
is a
solid
title-winning team.
Bro, that's a so. Other than that, right hand side. Well, the right hand side on defense. That's a solid team.
Decent team.
We have a midfield too.
Oh,
Don't worry, we'll have Dybala dropping back too.
right.
L1 triangle as soon as they get the ball. Okay, so I'm going to move on to one of our last segments. And it's kind of like one of my favorites because I've always been a huge Ronaldinho fan.
Wait,
So-
why is this a favorite then?
Well, because I wanted to talk about it, you know.
Oh, it's probably not a good
everyone.
situation for him.
Can I finish?
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Wait,
does
can we
someone-
replace Ronaldinho with Ibi in jail? Can we
Might
just
as well,
swap
man.
them?
Might as well.
I'm here for it.
Damn.
I mean,
And
Ibi
Bro, I
was-
wouldn't last in jail, man. Trust me.
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Anyway, can someone enlighten us on the Ronaldinho situation?
Yeah, so Ronaldinho and his brother, they were arrested for entering Paraguay with fake passports.
Before you continue, I kind of just want to say that something that you need to know is you don't really need a passport to
Yeah,
go
I
from
know.
Brazil to Paraguay.
That is so funny.
The fact that he even tried it is hilarious.
Like you don't need the passport. He could just show his Brazilian ID and then he'll be able to go through.
Exactly.
Like-
But the streets did tell me that he was having some issues with his ID in Brazil, so that could possibly be it.
But the man is Ronaldinho.
He is a
Yeah.
living legend.
Like everyone's gonna know who you are,
Imagine not recognizing him.
right?
Yo,
Did y'all see the pictures where he was getting pics with all the guys that arrested him?
Yeah.
I think I heard he wasn't allowed visitors for his birthday or something because his birthday just passed a couple days ago, didn't it?
Yo,
Yeah,
they brought
he
him a
was
cake and
so-
everything.
Yeah,
Should give
but
him
like
a
I don't think he
passport.
was allowed visitors.
That's mad. He should be the king of that prison, bro. He should be in charge. of it.
Probably.
Yeah, he had that friendly game and he got like 5 goals and 6 assists.
Imran, do you remember the days with Jogo Bonito?
Yes, yes, Jogo Benito.
That's
That
what I'm
was-
talking about, bro. That's
the
where it
Nike
was filmed,
adverts,
in those
yeah.
prisons.
No, but everyone loved Ronaldinho, man. Growing up, like I used to go and do skills because of Ronaldinho.
Exactly.
He's that
Even
guy,
that
man.
guy.
Even the Madrid fans liked Ronaldinho.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
didn't
Didn't they
Standing
clap for
ovation.
him after he scored that
Exactly.
goal against
Mhm.
Madrid?
Against them.
Mhm. He got
That's
a
insane.
a standing ovation.
the,
from
the whole
behind.
Burnabout clapped for him because he was just that good on his day. You know,
Mhm.
no one could stop him.
Do you know what's
Legend.
crazy about this story though? Is that apparently Ronaldinho only had $6.59 in his bank account.
Oh, I fully
How-
believe that.
How am I richer than Ronaldinho? What is this?
Bro, we're
What
all
is
richer
life?
than Ronaldinho.
Yeah, I
What
heard
is life?
he just party lifestyle and he's burned all this cash.
Imran, what do you have? Like £20 in your bank account?
Actually, I have £21.
Oh,
No, I'm joking. I'm
21.
Coronavirus.
joking.
okay.
Exactly.
So
Coronavirus hit my bank account hard.
to conclude this episode, I just wanted to thank all of our listeners. Like I said before, we appreciate all the feedback you've given. Drop a comment of things you'd like to hear about us, hear from us in the future, and just let us know what you thought of this episode.
And
Thanks for
hashtag
listening.
free gaucho.
Yeah, hashtag free gaucho.
Free
Hashtag free gaucho. Obviously, follow us on Twitter and the gram. We're on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Football
And we
Lookout.
have
on the football lookout. Yep.
we have
and-
a podcast on Spotify, Apple. Of course, we're on YouTube. We're on the Google Store. Did I miss anything? We're
no.
everywhere. That's what we're trying to
We're just
say.
everywhere. We're just
The
we're out here,
takeover
you know?
is incoming.
we're like the
we're where
virus.
you
we're
don't want
everywhere.
us to be, bro. Find us on Pornhub if you need.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god. Yo, please leave that in.
I
Please leave
am.
that.
I'm not. I'm not.
Okay, let's end it there.
See you guys next week. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks for
Yeah.
listening, man. Take
Thanks
care.
for listening.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.